Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It has been a really long time. I think the last video I posted was over a month ago, but I definitely haven't filmed for like longer than then, I think. So it's been a minute since I've spoken to you guys, and so some quick life updates. I have been finishing up my degree for university and I have my one final submission in 2 days time, and then I am completely done and all of my time is going to be my time and not uni work time, which is why I'm coming back to you guys with a video, because I'm just going to have a lot more time to film videos and do the reading and like the editing required for them. So yes, hopefully you will be seeing me a lot more consistently once again, because I have really missed making videos and posting them for you guys, so I'm excited to finally be back. Other small life updates, well, small. I turned 21 a couple of days ago, so I'm now like, I don't know. My dad keeps saying like an official adult, but I felt like I was already an official adult, so I don't really know. But see, I'm already out of breath because I'm not used to talking to you guys, but those are probably my two main life updates. I don't think anything other than that super crazy has really happened. We are moving in a few months. You'll probably see things to do with that in the background of all of the videos. We are moving in with my friend, which is going to be so excited, so hopefully you'll see some videos of us together as well in the future. We'll be able to film some stuff together, which will be super fun. But yeah, I think that is it now for big life updates. So now we can get into what today's video is actually all about. And that is, we are going to recap every book I've read this year so far, because I have done a lot of reading without you guys. I have not featured many books on my channel this year so far, maybe like 5 or 6 at a push. And I have now read 51. I wanted to film this video when I had read 50, but yesterday I finished an additional book, so it's just gonna have to be 51. Winifred is having some brunch beside me, so sorry if you can hear that, but yeah, 51 books. I have been going crazy. It is currently the 6th of May. And I am a third of the way through my reading goal. I am on track. I think I'm slightly ahead of track, maybe like 1 or 2 books ahead. So I've been doing really well with my reading goal this year and I'm so happy about it. So I thought, what better way to kind of recap you guys on what I've been doing in your absence than going through every single book I have read so far. I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted to do this. I was kind of going between talking about the books kind of by genre of the books. What? I was thinking about going by genre of the books, but I think instead I'm actually just going to do them in chronological order so you guys can see exactly kind of the progression of how I read all of these books, and it just makes it a little bit more simple for me in terms of giving you guys the ratings and what I thought on these books, because I have my Fable open in front of me, so if I go chronologically I can just scroll very simply, so that'll make it a lot easier for me, so I hope that's okay with everyone. It may feel a bit disjointed because I was definitely hopping around genres, but now you're going to get to see them in exactly the order that I read them. So without further ado, let's just get started. The first book that I read in 2025 was Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien, and honestly, I've read so much since I read this book that I don't remember it that much, but I do remember I did give it 4.5 stars. I do definitely remember thoroughly enjoying this one. I enjoyed kind of how this book was laid out. Is, if you're unfamiliar, I'm honestly not going to give spoiler warnings because this book came out in the 50s, like if you don't know the plot, low-key that's your own problem. So in the first book you obviously are following the Fellowship, Frodo, Legolas, Gandalf, Aragorn, I don't know, everyone, literally everyone. And then at the end of that book, they get separated. And they're in 2 groups. You have Sam and Frodo, and then you kind of have everyone else. And in this book, you are following those two different perspectives, but it's very kind of disjointed because you have, like, I guess the Fellowship for the first half of the book, and then the second half of the book is just Sam and Frodo. So it's very separate. You're not kind of going back and forth. You kind of get all of what I'm calling the Fellowship's story within this book, and then you get all of Sam and Frodo's perspective within this book, which I did enjoy for the first half, because I do prefer the story following, you know, Legolas and Aragorn and Gimli and everyone. I do prefer that set of characters. Obviously I love Sam and Frodo, and they quite literally carry the story and the plot, but it's like not as enjoyable. So I did really enjoy kind of getting uninterrupted story of my favourite characters at the beginning, and then at the end, you know, we were with Sam and Frodo, but I will say it was still really strong and it was still really interesting, and I definitely preferred this one to the Fellowship of the Ring. I think the Fellowship of the Ring has that nostalgia value. When I was a child, I would watch like the VHS tape of the Fellowship of the Ring over and over and over again, but I never watched the other two movies, so I definitely think it holds a nostalgic element where this one doesn't. But this one was just all around a really good story, and I still, spoiler alert, I still haven't read the final book, so honestly now that I'm talking about this, I really need to get to that soon, and I think I will, because this is just an incredible series and I'm so glad I read this one. Then I read Nightbane by Alex Aster. At the time, I really enjoyed this one and I gave it 4 stars. But at the time, I really enjoyed this one. Yeah, I gave it 4 stars, but honestly, in hindsight, I did not like this book that much. I can't really remember it. Truthfully, I'm not the biggest fan of Alex Aster's writing style. I don't think it's for me. It felt very jumpy and disjointed. Not in a good way. Like the Two Towers. No, this isn't the Two Towers. Oh, it is the Two Towers. Did I say that? I think I did. But it felt disjointed in a bad way. Like I felt like we were hopping from scene to scene to scene, but there was no bridging the gap between those scenes. This definitely has like a fun element to it. Like it was fun, it was silly. It was not serious to me in the slightest. I don't know if it was kind of meant to be. I don't know. I feel so mean because I just, overall, I don't like the series. I know I gave this a 4 star. I would genuinely lower that to a 3. Maybe a 3.5 if we're feeling generous. I don't specifically remember the plot of this one. I just remember like my overall feelings for the series. So maybe this one was enjoyable. But yeah, overall, just not my favourite. We're gonna put her to the side. Then I read Pucking Sweet by Elizabeth Rath, I believe. Yeah, and I gave this one 3.75 stars. I honestly, guys, I'm like a little bit embarrassed that I've read this whole series so far. It's a little bit humbling, but I did really enjoy it. Obviously, the first book is my favourite, the second book is my least favourite, and then this one stands in the middle of those two. So that's why this one got 3.75. It was fun. I enjoyed Poppy's characters. I enjoyed the boys' characters. They were great. It was just a fun, silly time. I do feel these books are way too long. Like, I feel like this book was like 500 pages plus, and I'm like, this is a romance. Do we need this much? Is there this much to be said? I don't know if there is. So that was my only issue mainly with it. The guy said some really cringy stuff. Just some of their like flirting and stuff was like mega cringe. So that's also why it was a little bit lower. Then we start with Our Fourth Wing reread. I do remember talking about this on my channel. I think I did a vlog where I was reading Onyx Storm along with a few other books. I actually can't really remember. This was just a reread, but this is my favourite in the series. This one is 5 stars, truthfully. No, honestly, it is a 5 star. It's really good. It's just a fun time. It's like the epitome of what a romantasy should be. I think some of these romantasies are getting a bit too romance heavy, like a little bit. And we're losing the fantasy plot. We're losing the fantasy world. We're losing the world building. But this honestly just has it all. It does deserve the hype. It is a good book. Hey, listen, hear me out. The second book isn't on my list, so I don't know why. so I'm just going to talk about it now because I don't remember if I read it before or after the next book. But that is the reread for Iron Flame. I initially did not physically read this one, so this was a physical reread for me. I don't know my rating. I actually don't. I want to say 4.5. It was a 4.75 upon the reread. I don't get the hate for this one. People say that there was loads of miscommunication. I actually disagree. I think they communicated really well. I think the secrets that they were hiding from one another were very warranted in this fantasy world. Like, it made sense. I don't think anyone should have just outright come out with a lot of this stuff. Specifically what happens at the end, like how... Or, no, not at the end, but one of Xaden's secrets. I'm like, how did you want him to just tell people about that? I don't know. And I think they actually spoke through their issues really well. I think it was a depiction of, like, a very normal and healthy relationship. I don't know. I really don't get the hate with this one. I really enjoyed this book. Obviously not as much as Fourth Wing, because Fourth Wing is honestly becoming, like, a fantasy classic. 4 minutes recording time left. I'm, like, 4 books in. Yeah, this is just a fantasy classic and I do love this one. And it was just really fun going back through, rereading, kind of seeing, obviously I was seeing loads of like theories on TikTok, so it was kind of nice seeing the origin for those theories and kind of trying to work things out for myself as well. But yes, I did enjoy Fourth Wing. Iron Flame. So the next book we read kind of broke up the Fourth Wing reading a little bit because we moved on to a romance, which is You With The View by Jessica Joyce. And honestly, I am so intrigued for what her next release is going to be. I don't know if there is going to be one. I'm just saying that because she has the potential to be a favourite romance author. Her 2 books that I have read, I have thoroughly enjoyed. Like, really, really, really enjoyed. This one follows Noelle. I'm trying to remember. I'm like, who does this one follow? It follows Noelle, and her grandmother has just passed away, and she finds, I think, some photographs? Yeah, and letters that kind of tell Noelle about this romance that her grandmother had that she had no idea about. So kind of, in an attempt to feel closer, I guess, to her grandmother, she makes a TikTok video about these photos and asks if anyone knows who this man is. And then someone replies saying like, yep, that's my grandfather. And they kind of connect. And they kind of learn about one another. She learns more about her grandmother and this guy's relationship. And they end up going on a trip, which would have been her grandmother and this man's honeymoon trip. And yeah, they go through that, and then obviously there's a romance between Noelle and the grandson, and it was just all around a very fun read. I gave it, I think, 4.5 stars, and from what I remember of it, like, yeah, I'll stand with that, because I just remember this being a really fun time and a really good read. And then we got back to Fourth Wing, as we should, and we read the new release of Onyx Storm. This one was interesting. I think it tonally and setting wise, it was very different from the last 2, and I think that's something that a lot of people disliked. It definitely was my least favourite in the trilogy, but I didn't dislike it by any means. I gave it a 4.25 stars. It was just really intense. I feel like we were finding things out. Honestly, like, not a single one of my questions was answered. I feel like I'm left with about 50 more questions than what I started with, and I'm definitely gonna have to do another reread of at least this book before the 4th book comes out. I don't know, like the end of next year, possibly the year after. She said she's taking a break. I respect. But I don't really remember. I just remember it being really intense. I remember kind of having to fly through it, and yeah, just a lot was happening. I do remember crying. I think something sad happened. I'm remembering. Yeah, I can't say, but something sad did definitely happen. It was just a roller coaster of emotions, and it was a really good book, but it was definitely my least favourite in the trilogy. Oh. Now we read, honestly, what is potentially my least favourite book of the year thus far. Hi. My least favourite book of the year. That was Sky Shade by Alex Aster. As I was saying earlier, I don't have fond memories of the series as a whole, and that is because of the final book. I just thought it was not good, and I feel really bad saying that. I always hesitate to say, you know, a book is bad because someone has put so much time and energy and effort into this, and it's obviously for someone. Some people love this book, and I'm glad that it's for some people. It was not for me. It really wasn't. I gave this book a 2.5 star. Like, I think that's the lowest I've ever really rated like an actual novel. Again, I just had all the same gripes as before. All the scenes felt really disjointed to the point where, honestly, for like the whole book, I had no idea what was going on. Like, I just remember reading it and being like, I don't understand what I'm reading. I don't understand what's going on. I did hear it was meant to be a trilogy, and then it got extended to an additional book or two. It should have stayed as a trilogy. I think the way it ended felt really bizarre. I hate when fantasy books do this. It felt like we were given an enemy, a thing to defeat that is undefeatable. So how do you wrap it up if you've basically told me that it's undefeatable? I don't know. I think there was just so many issues with this one, sadly. Currently, as I stand, I'm saying I will not read the next one. Listen, if the TikTok hype gets to me, don't judge me, because there's always a chance. There's always a chance I will read the next one. So just don't judge me if that happens, please. What was for me, however, is the next book, which is Caught Up by Liz Tomford, or Tomford, I'm not sure. Yeah, 5 stars. Yeah. Like Kai? Yeah. Single dad? Yeah. Miller, she was great. Slight age gap, loved it. It was just all round, like, such a phenomenal book. Honestly, like, the excitement I feel. I read this ages ago. This is telling me 13 weeks ago, so quite a while. I need to reread it because it was just phenomenal. The Windy City series, for me personally, doesn't miss. I know it missed for a lot of people with the first book. I can't relate. I also really enjoyed that one. This is just all around like the best sports romance books I have ever read. It was just phenomenal. I recommend this one, guys. It's an incredible book. I wish I read this with you because I had the time of my life, but alas I didn't. I will read the 5th one with you guys though, the new one coming out in May. I'll read that with you, I promise. I forgot about this one. We read 6 Scorched Roses by Carissa Broadbent. This was great. This was really fun. Everyone, like, and then Nan, who I've seen review this book, is like, this is the best novella ever. Yeah, I agree. I gave this one 4 stars personally. I know some people gave it 5 stars. Fully respect that decision. This is a really, really good novella. I think their story was so strong. I was so intrigued by it. I enjoyed kind of how it was broken up with like the different roses. So basically, maybe I should explain. We have Lilith and she has like a disease. I think this town is diseased, I believe. But she believes that she can find a cure. She thinks she can cure this disease and save everyone else. I think her sister is also, starting to die from this disease. It's really terrible. So she goes and finds this man, whose name I can't remember. Vale. I think that's his name, Vale. She goes and finds him and they make a deal. She will bring him a rose, I believe it's every month, and in exchange he will give her something to help cure the town, basically. And through that they kind of build this relationship, this bond, and it's basically a very short novella following that, and we kind of see them come together, and then you do see them briefly in the second, I want to say the Crowns of Nyaxia. Yeah, the second Crowns of Nyaxia book. But this was really good, and I honestly wish we got like a full-length novel with these guys because I thought their relationship was really sweet and perfect, and I really enjoyed this one. Oh, and then we're back to my favourite series in the whole wide world. No, it's really not, but like second favourite romance series, maybe we could go there, maybe we won't. I don't want to put pressure on that. Isaiah Rhodes. Incredible. Incredible book. Kennedy was also great. I loved so they have worked together on the baseball team, and then one day they're in Vegas and they just get married. Like, they just get married in Vegas. And then it's like, and they kind of have to deal with this. They can't, like, obviously instantly break up. They kind of, they play into it for reasons that you learn. But they play into it, and then obviously they fall in love. Isaiah has been obsessed with her the whole time. Like, he's been on the team, he has loved her, low-key, and she has just not been interested. But finally, you know, they kind of find their way together, and it is incredible. I also gave this 5 stars. I will say I think I slightly prefer Caught Up over Play Along. Slightly, but Play Along, also 5 stars. Impeccable. Yeah. Impeccable. I read 13 by Steve Kavanaugh. I read this one with you guys, so I won't dwell. I think I read it with you guys. Did I? I feel like I've spoken about this book on my channel before, so I'm not going to dwell on it. But I did give it 4 stars. It was really crazy. I am partial to a thriller. It's not something I pick up very frequently, but when I do, I tend to really, really enjoy them. And I did enjoy this one, and it was fun and crazy. But I do feel like I've given you guys more thoughts on that before, so I'm going to leave that one there. But Steve Kavanaugh is probably an author I will look more into because, yeah, I did really enjoy 13. It was good. The Mortal Instruments reread, yes. It is still commencing, I will say. We have not finished. Did I read this one with you guys? I feel like I did, because I feel like I spoke about this ending, and I'm going to speak about it again, because, hey, it really bothers me. What the hell was this ending? Why? It was great, honestly, the epitome of, like, a YA classic fantasy book. It is incredible. I do, like, incredible. Again, nostalgia values. I first read this, I think, when I was, like, 11 or 12 or something, so very nostalgic, but also just a fun time. However, that ending, Cassandra Clare, I will never not have beef with you over the plot that you made. And hey, I'm like over halfway through book 3, still not resolved. I know it gets resolved in this book, and I'm patiently waiting because I'm fed up. I knew that this was a plot point. What do you mean it lasts 3 books? What do you mean it's present in 3 of the books? Rude. Rude. Can't wait for it to be over. But I did enjoy this one. I gave it 4 stars. I feel like this is just like the epitome of a 4-star series for me. Like, some of the books are definitely flops. Some of the plot lines are flops. But all round, it's just a fun time. I feel like I will never not enjoy myself when I'm reading these books. So yeah, it is just a 4-star. Then we read The Atlas Six, and we have a problem, actually, because I don't really remember this book, and my friend said that I should read the second book quickly so that I don't forget this book, and hey, I forgot it. Yeah, I forgot the book. I gave it a 3.75. I remember it being tough. I don't think Olivia Blake is, like, the most straightforward, easy, simple reading author, and that's fine. They don't all need to be. But this was, like, you know, it was slow, there was a lot going on. It was very clever. It was. And potentially too clever for me, because I definitely didn't understand all of it. There is 6 POVs in this book, and I stand by what I said when I initially read it. It's maybe a little bit too much to fully connect and understand each individual character. Like, they were all good and they were all strong. Were they completely memorable for me? No, because there was a lot going on. But I do think it's, like, it's a strong idea. I didn't fully always have, like, a grasp on what was going on, but I do think it's a really strong idea. I'll just read, like, a recap, I think, before I go into the next book, and I think I'll be fine. I might ask my friend to kind of explain some things to me, and we should be good to go. Because I think if I read through some reviews, read a recap, I'll fully remember. But yeah, this was a 3.75. I definitely want to get into more Olivia Blake. I do think she could be an author for me. I have a few of her other books, like Masters of Death and One for My Enemy, which I really want to get around to. So we will just see if she is the author for me. But I'm crossing my fingers because I really hope she is, because I feel like she's phenomenal and I'm just not on her wavelength yet, you know? Like, I feel like I just need to get there. I need to work my way up. Loki, I forgot I read this. Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. She's pumping these books out. There's another one coming out this month. This was so much better than Not in Love. I read that one with you guys in my like reading romance books for a week. I don't remember what I titled the video, but I did read it with you guys. Didn't like it. Nope. Wasn't for me. Was not the Ali Hazelwood for me. It was like honestly her first flop for me. I was just wasn't vibing. So I wasn't sure kind of what to expect going in with this one, but I did ultimately enjoy it. I gave it 4 stars. Yeah, literally my review just says she redeemed herself from that last one, thank God. And honestly, yeah, thank God. Then I read, oh yeah, this was a recommendation by my friend. It was Never Seduce a Scot. I'll put, I don't know, wherever I've been putting pictures, I'll put it up. I gave this one 3.75. It was just like a fun, silly time. We're following like a lord, I think it was like laird, I don't know, listen, I don't know. Like a noble kind of ish man of like a, what are they called? I don't know. Like a collective of Scottish people back in the day. I'll put the word here somewhere. Following them, and he marries this girl and she's had an accident when she was younger. And so she is mute and she has a few other like ailments, and he marries her anyway, and he's like really nice to her, and then she kind of she starts to come out of her shell a little bit, and it kind of blossoms from there, and they fall in love, of course they do. And honestly, it was fun. It wasn't anything groundbreaking, it wasn't anything revolutionary. Will I potentially read something within the same kind of historical romance subgenre? Maybe. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was fun. Then I read City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare. I gave this one 4 stars. I had the same problem with this one that I did the last one. And honestly, you know what? If you haven't read the book, just like skip like 10 seconds, okay? The sibling stuff. Why did she do that? I don't know. So this was a prevalent issue in this one because it spans the whole book. You know, in the last book you only get it right at the end, and then in this book it is resolved right at the end. I hope. I'm hoping. I'm really hoping. This is the whole book and it was just painful. So yeah, you know. 4 stars, but exact same issue. The exact same. I read my first R.F. Kuang. I love her. I love her. Hey Rebecca. You're my, like, new #1 author. I love you. I read Yellowface, 5 stars. Has R.F. Kuang ever missed? No. This was so well crafted, an incredibly, I think, educational story. I think just the most unlikable character, but also like the most intriguing, like you wanted to keep reading. She was completely unlikable, and yet the book was so likable and so incredible, and it was just really complex, and it dealt with very unique things, and it was honestly just an incredible book. I can't believe this was my first book by her. I have now read almost all of her work, as you will see, but yeah, this was my first, and I just loved it. I really did. Then I reread The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. 5 stars. I don't know what crack he put in this book, but it was really good, okay? It was like incredible. The magic system again is so unique and it just works so well. The characters, there was such a huge cast of like side characters and they were all so fully fleshed out. I feel like I really understood everyone. I loved Vin, our main character, Kelsia, of course, and yeah, just everyone else. And this one particularly is just really special and definitely my favourite thus far. Very good book, very good. If you don't know, it kind of follows this like totalitarian or how do you say that word? I don't know. Authoritarian? What? I don't know. Regime, like a dictator, honestly all of the words. All of the words is this world. And then there's a magic system that kind of revolves around metals, and different people can burn different metals, and different metals obviously provide like different powers. Fascinating. Really recommend. Such a good book. One of the best books ever written, I fear, was Babel by R.F. Kuang. I read my second one by her very quickly after my first, and it's phenomenal. Like 5 out of 5. Honestly, like 6-star read. I will be rereading this 110% because I didn't annotate it. This is from like, I started it, softy and effed it, continued on with it. Will be rereading and annotating. Absolutely phenomenal book. Devastating at the end. 10 stars. You're basically just following babblers who are translators at Oxford University, but this is kind of a fantastical twist on Oxford University where there is these silver bars that can be imbued with a word, and then that word gives it the power of that word, for example. So like, I don't know, this is a crap example, but like grow, and then you'll also put like the French for grow, and then it will like help grow. I don't know, kind of like that. That is a terrible example, but that's basically the gist of it, and it's phenomenal. Everyone should read this book. It is incredibly intelligent and clever and beautiful prose and so complex characters. It's just, I love this book. I love this book. Then I read The Awakening by Kate Chopin, I think, for university, and this follows a woman who is like married into a Creole family and kind of her struggles with femininity and her sexuality and all that sort of thing. It is a classic, and honestly it's really good. I gave it 4 stars. I think it has some very important discussions throughout, especially for the time. It was just, yeah, I don't know, I think it's a really important read, to be honest, and I'm really glad that I did read it. And there is other books in here, so I will hopefully get around to them because I really enjoyed The Awakening. Then I read The Wings of Starlight by Alison Saft. I honestly really enjoyed this one. I don't think there was much to it. I think did I read this in a video? I may have done. If I didn't, I don't want to sound repetitive, but the gist of my thoughts were, if you didn't grow up watching and loving and being obsessed with the Tinkerbell films, this may not hit as hard for you as it did for me. I gave it 4.25 stars because I just love Tinkerbell. And I love the world of like Pixie Hollow, so the lore drops that we got fueled this book for me, and it was incredible. But obviously I loved getting Queen Clarion and Lord Mallory's story. It was just delightful, it really was. But it also like wasn't anything revolutionary, you know, but it was really strong. Then the next few books that we have, I'm gonna kind of talk lightly about because you guys did see me read these. These are all the books that I read in my 24-hour readathon, so I am literally gonna speed through them because I know for a fact I've spoken extensively on these. That being said, I am going to talk for a second on The Poppy War because wow, like one of the best books ever written. It's just so, again, she tells very like difficult to tell stories. This one specifically I would describe as harrowing. I would. The end of this book, please, if you know you are triggered by anything, like, please read the trigger warnings because like I didn't, because I'm not like genuinely not triggered by anything. If you are, this has a lot of the big ones in there, so please just read it to be on the safe side because I don't want you guys to be like traumatized. But this is an incredible book and she does like a wonderful thing with this, and this was her debut novel, which is honestly, I can't even fathom how this is a debut book. What do you mean? What do you mean? Because this is like one of the best books ever written, I fear. Like, it's incredible, and Rin's character is just so complex, so morally grey, so conflicting. It's phenomenal. I'm not going to give you guys synopsis of any of the next few books because I already have, but please read this book if the trigger warnings are okay for you. Lights Out, silly, goofy, gave it 3.75. Just silly, goofy time. I will probably read the second book when it comes out later this year, but I honestly don't remember like too much about it, and I know any of my important thoughts, you guys have had them before, so we'll leave that one there. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, again, spoken extensively. You know my thoughts on the author, even more so now than when I read it. She is like a horrible human being. I just really want to preface that. I'm not supporting her in the slightest when I'm talking about these books. She is like the epitome of a terrible woman, you know. Yeah. This autobiographical book. However, it is really good and so nostalgic. Again, I just love the nostalgia value of this world, of these characters. It is just a fun time. I read it super duper quickly, like I want to say under 3 hours. I don't know, if you watched the video you would know, but it's just a really good book. It's super fun. If you do ever want to read it and you don't own it, please buy the books secondhand or find an ebook online for free somewhere. Please do not buy them brand new. I'm begging you, please do not do that. Thank you. Then I read Noughts and Crosses by Malorie Blackman. Again, a very important, like, I believe it's dystopian. I used it in a dystopian essay, so we're gonna run with that. Novel about very important discussions about race and, like, again, totalitarian, authoritarian regimes, everything like that. It's just, yeah, definitely an important one, and it's nice that it's targeted at that young adult audience because that age is so impressionable, so to be reading literature like this I think is really important. But it kind of takes place in a world where the kind of gist of it is, what if Africa colonized Europe instead of how it is in the real world, where obviously Europe colonized Africa, and you kind of see that world. And I don't know, I just think Malorie Blackman does a really interesting thing with it, and I think it's a solid read. Even if it wasn't like my most favourite thing in the world, I think I gave it 3.75 stars, but I do think it was doing something really important, and I do think, yeah, either read it or watch the BBC show. Then I read Out of the Woods by Hannah Bowman Young. She's also really solidifying herself as a favourite author. Out of the Woods follows characters that you meet in Out on a Limb. They're kind of like companion novels, and this one is actually like a reconnecting story, which I've never read before. It's not even second chance because they're not divorced. Their marriage is just struggling, and they kind of go on this outdoor retreat to kind of rejuvenate their relationship. And yeah, you just kind of see them go through that journey and learn to connect with one another again and just fall back in love with each other. And I think it was a really beautiful story. I gave that, I believe, 4.75. I just really enjoyed it, and I love Hannah Bowman Young's prose. I think she just writes beautifully. Then I read The Well of Ascension. I didn't love this one. I think it was just a little bit underwhelming for me. I think it was too long. I think there was a lot of politics when we could have had a little bit more action, perhaps. I'm very confused by the ending. I actually think I need to read like someone explaining the ending to me because I was lost. I didn't really understand it, but I am intrigued for the next one. I know that generally this is like the least favourite in the Mistborn trilogy, so I still have high hopes for the next book because I know people tend to enjoy it more than this one, so hopefully it will be okay. But yeah, just overall I still enjoyed this one. I think I gave it like 3.5, 3.75. It was still good, it just was nowhere near The Final Empire for me. Like, The Final Empire was worlds better, and that's fine, it's fine. I just think, yeah, very politics heavy, and sometimes I enjoy that, but this was like a little bit too much. Just like a little bit. And I'm sitting on a vlog for this book. I am. Like a fully dedicated vlog. So let me know if you guys want it. I'll probably upload it anyway because I do think it was a good video. I need to finish editing it. I've been sitting on her for like over a month. I'm so sorry. But that is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, you guys. This is like the best book. One of the best books I've read this year. Absolutely phenomenal. I'm planning to get a tattoo to commemorate this book because it was truly spectacular. Haymitch's character, I love him more than I have ever loved him before. Just everything we got in this book was completely incredible. I have heard some criticisms for this book. I genuinely don't agree with them, and that's fine. Like, if you feel there's some characters that pop up, and I think some people felt that it was fan servicey or that they didn't completely have a purpose within the narrative that was being told in this book, and I can kind of see where people are coming from. Like, to an extent I do agree, but I guess I just didn't care. I just still really loved it. I don't think that was anything to like negatively impact my reading experience. I just think this was an incredible book. I love what it added to the Hunger Games universe. I love what we now know about Haymitch. I think it just makes him so much more of a complex and in-depth character, and it was just phenomenal. So yeah, if you guys want to hear even more, like, I did a spoiler-free and spoiler-filled reading vlog for this, so if you want some spoilery thoughts for this book, let me know, and I'm gonna upload it anyway, but if you want to see it, let me know, because that will make me feel better. But yeah, I filmed a full video for this, so you guys can look forward to that, because this book was incredible, truly incredible. Just scrolling through this, there's definitely some reviews that aren't present on here, so I'm just gonna really quickly kind of sum them all up, and I'll put pictures of every book I'm referencing here, because I read about 5, but not a single one of my Greek play reviews have been on this list, and I've just realized that. So we're gonna really quickly touch on some of the uni books that I read this year, because why are they not on here? I don't know, I read them weeks ago. This is definitely out of order now, but I read a whole bunch of these Greek plays, and generally speaking, because I am going to speak generally, I did enjoy all of them. They were fun. Honestly, a great time. I'm very glad I read them. I feel like I just have so much like intertextual knowledge now of like so many other things. They were just a great time. Yeah, there's like 5 of them. I'll put them around just so you can see exactly what ones I have read. But I touched on a lot of them in a prior video as well, so you guys kind of know. Also, these ones didn't come up, so I'll just touch on them super quick. King Lear by William Shakespeare. I actually really didn't enjoy this one. I hate to admit it, but his language is really hard to understand, and I just didn't know what was going on. But also, like, I guess I did understand what was going on, and I just wasn't completely, like, fulfilled by it. I don't know. I think maybe some of his other works will be for me. I'm going to be reading Macbeth, Hamlet. For myself, I want to read Midsummer Night's Dream, all of those, and we'll see if more is for me. This one was not for me, however. And then also, I also read this in a video, so I won't dwell on it, but The Princess and the Goblin. Again, not my favourite, but I had to read it for uni. But you guys know my thoughts on this one, but it definitely wasn't a favourite, but it was fine. While we are on the topic of uni books, I did read Mortal Engines for university. I also didn't love this one, I really didn't. I gave it 2.75 stars. It just wasn't for me. I think it had to do with the writing style somewhat. The characters, the world wasn't particularly gripping to me, just all of the above. This one wasn't for me. It kind of follows like a motorized London, and all cities are like following, like moving. They're like automated, I don't know. And then you follow some characters. I honestly, like, I don't care, so I don't really care to tell you guys about it. I know that sounds awful, but I just wasn't interested. I want to try the movie. I do feel like maybe I would enjoy the movie more than the book. I know people who loved the book didn't enjoy the movie as much, but maybe I'll enjoy the movie more because I didn't love the book. Who knows? Yeah, I can't be bothered to tell you any more about that one because I really didn't love it. What I did love, however, was The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. Just as good as the first one. This was, again, such a phenomenal read. I annotated the hell out of it. I feel like the characters just got more complex, more interesting. I don't know, just the plot was crazy. More morally great actions. Like, honestly, you really can't defend these characters. They do some terrible things, but they are phenomenal. Like, they're just phenomenally written characters. Absolutely incredible, and I loved it. I read Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. No, that's not what this book is. Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, and I did really enjoy this one. 4.5 stars. I think it was insta-lovey, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why no one has been saying that when talking about this book, but I truly believe it is insta-lovey. However, and this may be why people are bringing it up, because it's not a negative in this scenario. Typically it is. Typically it's annoying, especially if it's a romance book. Like, why are you falling in love in the first, like, 10%? What's the rest of it? In this case, there was a lot in the rest of it that didn't have to do with, like, how they romantically felt about one another. Instead, there were more physical obstacles to their relationship that they had to not overcome. They're not really overcomable, but just figure out how to navigate with one another and how to make their relationship work in spite of these things or despite these things. I don't know. Yeah, that's basically this one, and I did really enjoy it. I thought it was funny. I think she writes her characters just so well and her stories so well. This is my only second book by Abby Jimenez, so I do want to read more, but so far, so good, definitely. The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. This was incredible. Like 6 stars, no doubt in my mind. Such a good book. Again, I've just been reading books with really complex, not like very straightforward characters, and I've been thoroughly enjoying myself with it. Like, this was definitely a tough read. Again, I would look up some trigger warnings for this, more in terms of grief and things like that, some homophobia, cheating. Is that a spoiler? That might be a spoiler. I don't know. Look up the trigger warnings. I don't want to spoil anything for this one, but it was just so good, and she writes her characters so well. Some of them in this book were definitely very likable. Georgia and Sam Penny were amazing, and then you have some the most jarring, irritating characters I've ever had the displeasure of reading. Just awful. But overall, this book was really incredible, and you're kind of following Georgia, and she has to go back home to South Carolina, to her family because her father has passed away. And you're just kind of seeing all the family dynamics, all the fallout from that, all the issues. So many things happen within this book. But yeah, please definitely read the trigger warnings for this one as well. Then I read Mort by Terry Pratchett, and I'm actually really excited about this one, even though this specifically wasn't like my most favourite thing. I just think this world of Discworld is going to be so fun. I've bought a whole bunch of these. I'm planning on doing a book haul video of all the books I've bought while I've been away from you guys, and you will see I've bought a whole bunch of these. I'm just definitely trying to get into this universe, and this was honestly, I think, a really solid starting place for me. I'm very happy I started here with Mort, who is a boy who becomes Death's apprentice, and honestly, there is no more of a synopsis than that. I gave it 3.5, sorry. 3.5, but it was just a really fun, silly time, and I think the rest of the series is going to follow in its footsteps, for sure. Then I picked up Funny Story, and I can't believe I've been putting it off for so long, because I really have, and it was incredible. 4.5 stars I gave this one. I loved Miles, I loved Daphne. Daphne? Yes. The gist of this Emily Henry book is you have Miles and Daphne, and they are roommates. They are roommates because their exes broke up with them to get with each other. Yeah, that's the gist. Daphne was engaged to her partner. I don't think Miles was, but they're, like, the other two, the horrible ones, like, were best friends. And then they broke up with their partners to be with one another, and they left Daphne and Miles in the ditches, and it's kind of a story about them, and it is magnificent. I loved it. I was on an Emily Henry kick, and I picked up You and Me on Vacation, and I also was pleasantly surprised by this one. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it that much, because I tried to listen to the audiobook a few years ago, and I just could not get behind it. And I thought it was because of the audiobook, but it actually wasn't, because I listened to the audiobook again this time for the whole read, basically, and it was great. It was really good. I gave this one 4 stars. This is like a best friend to strangers to lovers, kind of, and it was great. It was honestly really good. I really enjoyed their relationship. I think I gave this one a 4.25, not a 4. But it was just really good, and it was really fun, and honestly, Emily Henry just writes incredible books. She really does. But then I read The Bridge Kingdom by Daniel L. Jensen, and this was really fun. This was a really fun... I feel like it's not a fantasy, but obviously it is a fantasy, because what else would it be? But there is no magic system within this book. We are just following the Bridge Kingdom of Ithacana. And we are following our main character, Lara. And she is kind of like infiltrating through a marriage the Bridge Kingdom, and she's kind of been tasked with taking it down, but then she kind of discovers things for herself, and she kind of comes to her own conclusions. But we kind of end the story in a difficult place, and I am very intrigued to see where the next book is going to go. I did give this one a 3.75, but I do have like fond memories of it. I don't know, it just felt like a 3.75, but I also really enjoyed it. I felt like we could have got more romance. I feel like it's very slow burn, so bear that in mind. Like, I feel like it's marketed as a romantasy. I would argue differently, personally. I feel like there's not that much of a romance present in this one, at least. I haven't read the second book yet, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with this one. But I did really enjoy it, and can we just take a minute to appreciate the new absolutely gorgeous covers? When I bought mine, they weren't currently out in the UK, so I do have the amazing US floppy paperbacks, but these are out also in the UK now, if anyone is interested. And then finally, I'm going to talk about both of these books in the same breath because they have both been rereads, but this is the 50th and 51st book of the year. I have been rereading Powerless and Reckless by Lauren Roberts, and now, today, probably, I will be starting Fearless, which is the new one. But I did reread both of these. Upon a reread, I lowered both of them ever so slightly, I think by like a 0.5 star. I lowered their ratings. But as it stands, this one's like okay, but it's definitely not like my favourite by any means. But, you know, it just felt kind of like an amalgamation of all your typical fantasy tropes. And that's fine. I think it really worked for some people. It didn't personally work that well for me. However, I did love the second book. This is the reverse of the UK edition, in case anyone's curious. But I did really enjoy this one. 4.5 stars. I don't know if I originally read it in a vlog. If I did, you would know I gave it a 5-star. I did lower that. I was a little bit generous there. I don't know what was going on. I did lower her. But yeah, Reckless by Lauren Roberts, solid book, 4.5 stars. And that is all 51 books I have read this year, hopefully. I think I got all of them. It got a bit confusing when none of my plays were in my list, but I'm hoping I got everything. So let me know if you guys have read any of those books. If you have opinions on any of those books, I would love to talk to you guys about them. But I honestly feel like I've done some incredible reading so far this year. And in the month of May, there's some hopefully very incredible books coming out as well. So I'm very excited to get around to those. And hopefully the rest of the year will be filled with equally as amazing reading. If you made it to the end, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I actually had a lot of fun just sitting down and talking about everything I've read so far. It was very enjoyable, so I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And hopefully I will see you all in my next video. Please like and subscribe and do all those fun things, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!